What's going on, y'all? This is Q Ortiz, your San Diego local massage therapist, musician, and artist. We over here with the question. Thank you for being here. I'm gonna hop on this live real quick. I'm not here for a long time. It's just to answer this question that I was sent on my Instagram. If you're not following my Instagram pages, if you're interested in the health one, it's QOrtizBusiness Health, QOrtiz's Health. The music one is QOrtizBusiness Music, so QOrtiz's Music. And then the art page is QOrtiz's Art. So you can find me on there. All right. So today's question I put in the title, and it comes from someone who was on my QRT's health page on Instagram. They went to one of the highlight bubbles I have at the top of my page, and I can show you that a little bit. Let's see if it shows up. Yeah. So just like on these highlight bubbles, I started doing little clips sharing information about the mucusless diet healing system. So this talk is more on the health tip. So they went to one of the bubbles on mucusless diet healing system, and it showed some mucus because when I when I started getting more serious about cleaning, I started documenting my process. So going through whatever kind of foods I was getting, grocery hauls, and also getting intimate and showing what was coming out of me so people could have that idea, because a lot of people, they haven't seen that come out of them, and they also don't have the proof that they need to step forward with this path if that's what they're looking for. So I shared my story so people can connect with it, and how this person did. They asked me a question about it. So they saw this mucus and asked me, how do I remove this mucus, and where did it come from? And the answer is, how you remove the mucus is through practicing the mucusless diet healing system. That's at least how I removed that mucus. Where I'm sure there are other ways, and you can look into that if you know somebody else who's talking about removing mucus and they do other methods. But my answer is through the practice of the mucusless diet healing system by Professor Arnold Ehret. And when I say through the practice of it, it's the nature of the system is to remove that excess mucus. So when you look at just the methodology of why you're eating certain foods, why you're not eating certain foods, and through that experimentation, through that practice, you are able to gain your own understanding, of what these foods have done to you, especially if you reintroduce them. And that's where you also can figure out what they leave behind, because you take them out, then you go a period of time of eating more cleansing foods, reintroduce this other food, and then boom, you know how your bowel movements are, how you're feeling, how your nose is affected, all of that, how your body's affected. So that's one element, is the actual eating part, the foods. But then there's ancillary 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 therapies like the enemas. So enemas is one of them. There's also sunbathing, etc. Air baths. So with the enemas, that's a way to specifically directly target the mucus in the intestines. So the second question was, where do you remove it from? And it's, according to Professor Arnold Ehret, and through my experience as well, the mucus is all over. It's throughout, wherever the blood flows, wherever there's tunnels in the body, and you picture the veins, the vessels, wherever there's there are those channels, there's potential for blockage to happen. So mucus can be seen as one of those blockages to happen. And a lot of it gets stuck in the intestines, where all the food substances, what we've eaten when we were younger, what we're still eating, all of that is accumulating. So where it gets removed is with the enema, specifically with those, the lemon juice, and you could read more about this in the Mucusless diet healing system, but lemon specifically, the the acid neutralizes the stickiness of that excess mucus that's in the intestines. So when you're able to explore that as well, right? See if that's something you're into. Maybe you just tried the distilled water, but you're practicing the system and you're becoming more um, assimilated with that information. Like if you're able to assimilate it more and have more of a trust, because initially it can be something unknown. You don't know what's going to happen if you get into it. And with time, with your trust, with your willingness, if you're getting into it and you explore, you hear other people talking about it, how they remove mucus, you see their pictures, it causes a conviction. So then you're able to see, okay, well, they're doing something. They're doing something and I'm seeing results. So let me try. So you try it, and that's where that's where the understanding comes from. Is from you, is your experience, is your experience. So that's really how you remove it, is practicing the mucusless diet healing system first. In order to practice it, you need to know what the system is. And in order to do that, definitely read the Mucusless Diet Healing System by Professor Arnold Ehret. That'll give you a basis and a different perspective on how you approach food, right? How you approach eating. And just that alone can help in the nature of where you're asking, how do I remove mucus? Now you're getting to understand, well, where does the mucus come from? So you can take steps to not accumulate all of that mucus, not to accumulate all of that excess mucus. Then from there, you understand the system. Maybe you start to get into it, right? Because first you just read about it, you understand it. It's good to take it slow. Definitely learn from other practitioners who've rushed it, even though when they rushed it, they ended up learning, because when you're in the situation, you learn, oh, I'm fasting too much. I need to eat more, or I'm eating too many fruits because it's too hydrating. So now all the dried up waste of my body is becoming hydrated, and now it's dumping into my system, and I'm feeling the repercussions of that. And that's where you learn that if you're going too fast. But if you simply read the information, get into the vibe, and the knowledge of it, just get a feel, get a sense of how you're eating, how you feel too. If you feel good, just feel that, and observe if there are any situations that you would change with how you're eating now and how your behavior is, or how you feel the food is digesting, or things of that nature, because that'll give you a sign of some change that may need to be made, if that makes sense. So just to elaborate a little more, if you say you are eating these grains, or eating starches or fats or meat or dairy, any of those, eggs, then you're saying, okay, I feel good. I feel good about what I'm doing. But then you notice, yeah, ah man, this injury is not really, it's not really healing when I'm, but you're not attributing it to those foods necessarily. You're you're still like yeah, you don't think, you're not thinking the foods are delaying the healing process, right? You're maybe thinking that the foods are healing it, or eating foods that you know you shouldn't be eating, especially at that time that you need to heal, if you have an injury or you're sick, right? That as well. And those can be times to explore shifting some things. And I didn't mention this, but yeah, none of this is medical advice. None of what I'm giving is medical advice. It's me just speaking about my experience, answering a question that someone asked me about removing mucus, and where did it come from. They saw a picture on my Instagram. Where did the mucus come from, and how did you remove it? So none of this is medical advice. But at least for me, if I had injuries, I noticed and went straight to what I was eating. I was focused on that. So I put my lens and focus right on the the element of the food. What am I taking in, and how is that affecting my body, right? How is that affecting my mood? How is that affecting my behavior, right? Food affects the behavior. Food affects all of that, everything. And some people may feel like, it's just food. Whatever. Like you eat it and then go about your business, and ah. But I have a different feeling about that, where the what you're eating is the basis. That's the basis. Is where your talk about building blocks, as far as the influence of your behavior, how your body develops, the connections that you have with people over the food that you're eating. We talk a lot about that in the with the mucusless diet healing system practitioners, where it's a huge factor of why certain people don't practice, or when they notice how much the social element comes into play with practicing the mucusless diet healing system. You notice how much food plays a role. So that's where it's a good place to start when you're looking at different ailments, or if you're feeling sick, or just feeling like something could change, like your energy. It's good to just go, yeah, okay, like, how am I eating? How have I been eating? Is there anything I can change? Do I feel like I can cleanse? And that's, yeah, that's the basis of the approach. So yeah, where does the mucus come from, and how do you remove the mucus? It's coming from me. Look into the Mucusless Diet Healing System by Professor Arnold Ehret. And and then where do you remove it? Where you saw the picture, it was specifically from my intestines, from practicing the system and then doing the enemas to flush out what I loosened up inside. And then other times I had mucus come from my sinuses. So we have our sinus here. You may have blocked up sinuses. I was able to flush flush mucus out of there, feeling just like, yeah, all the sinuses, the face, feeling mucus in the lungs, right? A lot of people talking about that built up lung mucus from, from recent events and all that. And it could be, there could be a way to loosen up that that mucus that is within the lungs, within the heart, right? But just speaking more, I mentioned the lungs because I remember there was a time where I was going through an elimination. And when you read into the system about eliminations, it's basically when you sick, right? When you sick, when you're expelling, you're having an elimination. So I was going through that, and because I was practicing the system, I was able to look at solutions, look at what my present situation was, and then making adjustments based off of that, and the feel of my body to decide what I needed to do, what step that I need to take. So that's where I was able to just shift how I was eating, shift how I was drinking, and I could just feel, one, my shoulder. I had a like an injury because I fell off my bike, boom, fell, and then jacked my shoulder, just like boom. So I was messed up for a while. I couldn't really move it, and then at this time, I could feel my shoulder healing through how I was eating. Feel it starting to click back. Then, speaking about the mucus in the lungs, I was able to loosen that mucus in the lungs. Just like I was coughing, and I could just feel it like breaking up. And each time I was able to get it out, get it out, get it out, get it out. So, and I filled up. Ugh, I was spitting in like bottles just I had proof that of that mucus just to show, because it's not just what's in the intestines, and that's the whole point, is that the mucus and obstruction can be throughout the entire body. And I was fortunate to have examples of being able to remove this mucus from my sinuses, from my lungs, as well as my intestines. So I got to specifically witness a few areas, a few elimination areas, to where that mucus was. So that's what's a blessing, because when you get into the system, you're you're sort of going into it blindly. And even though you know about mucus, when you've been ill and trying to blow your nose. And sometimes you might eat some things to where it's not allowing you to expel that waste. And that's a key point to notice, is that you want to find what allows for your body to expel that so it doesn't continue to store all of that waste. So it's a great question. Great question. I'm happy that I was able to receive that question. I appreciate you putting your trust and your curiosity into asking me a question about how did I remove the mucus and where was it removed, because now I can share this with you, and I can also share this with other people, so maybe they're inspired to want to look into mucus and removing it from their bodies, or just getting more into that realm, or just being inspired to continue on with their practice if they haven't seen results yet, but they're just getting that feel and getting that inspiration to continue on. So I appreciate you for tuning in and sending that question. Again, you can send any question. I'll put it in the description as well, but you can send any of your questions, whether it's health, music, or art. You can send it to the Q Ortiz Health Instagram, Q Ortiz Music Instagram, Q Ortiz Art. I'm on all those pages. I watch all those pages, so you can send it either there or to my email. I put my email in the description below. And yeah, I also put my donation link for the PayPal. So if you support what I do and you want to give whatever value you feel like I give to you by showing up on here, doing this work, also checking my pages, if you see what kind of work I'm doing and how I'm doing, if that can be like a grade on a report card. You just sent you like feel like you got A plus. Here's $5,000. No, whatever you feel, definitely all good. At least give a like. You can share this with somebody you feel like might need to hear this from me, right? This message from this person, Q Ortiz right here. And thank you again. Thank you again for tuning in. You have any questions, send that through. I'll do my best to go through those and put some up. Thank you for your support. Subscribe if you have not subscribed. And thank you. I will talk to you soon. Peace, peace, peace.